Hi, this is Jen from Cookies, Cupcakes, and Cardio.com, and today I'm here to show you another frozen buttercream transfer. This is the second video that we've done for frozen buttercream transfers because the first one I was videotaping on my own and my arm got in the way for some of it. So I'm going to show you the whole thing with my professional helper here on Manning the Cameraman. Hi, Paul.
Hello.
And so here's what we need to do. Starting with a baking sheet, and I like to run off my pictures onto transparencies that are easily run off on a computer or on a photocopier. And we're going to do this fellow here, Pikachu. So the outline is going to be done in black first, red in the lips and the cheeks, black outline, and yellow inside. First thing we need to do is tape Pikachu down here. So just using normal Scotch tape. This is just to help solidify him and stick him to the page. On top of that goes a piece of wax paper, just typical wax paper. And I just find that it's easier to put it onto wax paper so when you're peeling it off, it comes off really nicely with lots of ease after all the frozen parts of the steps. So outlining first, and I'm using Wilton tip number 3 to do the outline. So remember, keep your tip at a 45-degree angle, and you're going to pipe just along following your picture. So nice and steady. I'm awfully shaky at the moment. Sometimes if you're shaking, I'm just going to steady my elbow and try to see if that works. There we go. Whoops. You can easily fix it and fill it in. It's the nice part about this one, it's very forgiving. Okay, step 1, the outlining is done. And so what you do now is you take it to the freezer and let it freeze for about 15 minutes. And then I'll bring it back out and I will show you step 2. Okay, so the first layer is significantly solidly frozen. And we're going to go on to the next layer. You want to make sure each layer in between is frozen so you don't have any color blending and the picture stays in its pristine form. I'm just filling in the white of the eyes here. And you just want to do all the other filler. So to do your big areas, use a larger tip. On the red bag, I was using tip number 9 to fill that in. And on to the big body part, I'm using Wilton's round size 12. I'm obviously going to need to change my tip for the smaller areas, but I'm going to fill in the majority of it now. So at this point, I'm going to stop, refreeze, and just to point out that I did make a mistake on the feet, and I shouldn't have gone over that part quite yet. I got a little bit ahead of myself. So don't do that. Why I want to refreeze at this point is because the red and the white haven't been frozen yet. So you just want to smooth out any of the already little peaks that you have here, just to help yourself with your process later. I'm going to try to fix this a little bit. You can always pipe back onto your final cake when you switch this over to your cake, and that will probably fix that problem, I hope. So refreeze again for about 15 minutes, and then I'll show you what the next and final step is. Okay, so I'm going to continue my fill-in process. The red and the white have now been frozen, and I've switched to a smaller tip for the yellow filling in process, and this is the tip number 5. So to smooth out the top here, I'm just going to use my icing knife, just so you have a nice smooth finish in order to place your frozen buttercream transfer onto the top of your cake. So barely any pressure, just smoothing it out. You don't want to put too much pressure and move anything around underneath your cake, especially if you're working in a warm room. Your icing will definitely start to melt almost. Okay, and one more freeze for now, and then we will peel it off and we will put it onto the top of the cake. On to the final step here. We're going to transfer the frozen buttercream piping Pikachu picture onto our cake. So just pulling up the wax paper, I'm just going to place it where I want to have Pikachu sitting here. And flip him onto there, make sure he's in the right spot. And that looks good, and I'm going to just peel up the paper. So you can see he's sitting quite high. That's because of the massive amount of icing I used. But who doesn't love icing? Never hurts. So what you can do to fill that gap in is obviously just pipe in yellow, white, sort of a design, anything. I think it kind of looks cool like that too, actually. It's 3D Pikachu poking out of the cake. And then the last step would be to ice around the edges and to pipe on the happy birthday wishes for the special boy that's getting this cake today. So thanks for watching. This is Jen from Cookies, Cupcakes, and Cardio. Remember, subscribe to our channel. We'd love to see you.